So, I mean, I think it relates to the heart of what ESG is about, right? The origin of ESG's explosion over the last decade and over the last 5 years in particular is really about trying to get done through the back door what government could not get done through the front door under the Constitution. That's really what this game is about. So, the Scope 3 emissions caps that large ESG promoting asset managers vote for, BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard, all voted for a Scope 3 emissions cap at Chevron in 2021 that Chevron did not want to adopt, that's not required by US law. It would never be required by US law because the US voters would never support it, but they're using then the capital of those everyday US voters to still do through the back door what government couldn't get done through the front door, but to make it invisible. And the thing that really gets under my skin about this particular ESG rule is that it was designed to be non-transparent. So I followed this very closely. Actually, I wrote an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal with the former Department of Secretary of Labor, person who led the Department of Labor, co-wrote this with me in the Journal last summer when the draft rule came out. I expressly called on the Biden administration to cancel this rule because it was, a violation of historical precedents for years of not only fiduciary duties amongst how states set up their laws, but even public policy for what we should want to do with retirement funds of retirees. But there was a crucial feature in the draft rule that disappeared in the final rule. The draft rule had an express disclosure requirement to say that at least if they were going to use these non-pecuniary factors, like environmental factors relating to climate change and otherwise, they at least had to expressly disclose it. That disclosure requirement disappeared in the final rule. And they even in the fine print stated one of the reasons why was that they feared it would have a chilling effect. Their words, not mine, chilling effect on the use of ESG factors. So what does that say? It means that if you, exactly. So that's what the whole game is about. That's what ESG is about, is it's a sleight of hand to get done through the back door what government couldn't get done through the front door, using the money of everyday citizens and retirees to do it. And why do I say it's a 1776 question? That's the way that most of the world has governed itself prior to the birth of the United States. I mean, old world Europe believed in its deepest conviction that the citizens could not be trusted to sort out questions that were the most important ones of the time. Climate change, or whatever it would be today, they would say, whatever it was back then. Citizens could not be trusted. And that's why elites getting together in the back of palace halls had to make those decisions for the rest of society at large. America, for better or worse, I think it's for the better, but for better or worse, decided that no, we the citizens, we the people, make those decisions through the political process in a constitutional republic where every person's voice and vote counts equally. That was a departure. That was a radical idea. It's the radicalism of what makes America itself. Okay, that's what we decided in 1776. So the ESG trend today is that old world European view rearing its ugly head again, saying that no, these citizens can't be trusted. They're clearly not stepping up to the challenge of addressing global climate change. By the way, it's no accident that this ESG trend really, lifted off. I mean, it achieved hyper liftoff mode after Trump pulled out of the Paris Climate Accords, because that gave a moral justification to say that, if government leaders aren't going to address global climate change, then we in the private sector ought to be able to do it instead. That is really what, it's the invisible reality playing out over the last 5 years. And as much as I see other Republicans, and I'm proud of the foot soldiers who have taken on this cause, but as much as they're trying to catch up to this issue, it's a complicated issue, sorting this out for themselves, one of my roles has been to really explain it to them and help them understand what's really going on. I mean, you could say woke, four-letter word until you're blue in the face. You got to know what it actually means. And so I think that otherwise, I wouldn't say the Democrat agenda, I would say that the aristocratic agenda is always going to be one step ahead, as it is today too. So I am proud that the Senate, voted for legislation to rule against this, I believe, unconstitutional, but certainly imprudent regulation passed by the Department of Labor. And it is telling that Biden is not on the side of the Democrats, right? Manchin and Sinema split. This isn't a strict partisan issue. He's on the side of aristocracy over self-governance. That's what's at stake in the ESG question.